All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a full, authentic journey through the do's of Chinese dining. We're going to go step by step, literally right from walking through the front doors of a bustling restaurant all the way to paying that final bill. So if you've ever felt a bit intimidated by the idea of ordering in a real Chinese restaurant, or if you're just the kind of person who loves mastering practical new skills, you're going to love this. It's going to be incredibly fun and super useful. Now, first things first, we've kind of got to shatter some of our Western illusions about Chinese food. I mean, so many of us grew up thinking a giant plate of General Tso's chicken and a fortune cookie was the absolute peak of Chinese cuisine, right? But the reality? General Tso was a very real, very serious military leader, and he definitely was not a fry cook. And those fortune cookies? Completely an American invention. Real Chinese food is just infinitely more diverse and incredibly local compared to what we see on typical takeout menus abroad. In fact, as our source cleverly points out, if you try to order these westernized fake Chinese dishes in a city like Chengdu or Shanghai, you're just going to get some hilarious reactions. Walk into a traditional spot and ask for a fortune cookie, and the waiter is literally going to look at you like you just beamed down from a spaceship. So we really need to reset our expectations and learn how the locals actually do it. So let's start at the actual beginning. Imagine you're standing right there at the bustling restaurant door. Your golden ticket to getting off on the right foot is amazingly simple. Just smile, offer a friendly ni hao, which means hello, and state how many people are in your group. You really don't need a complex textbook sentence here. Efficiency is totally the name of the game. The real secret to asking for a table is using a polite counterword for guests. In Chinese, they focus on the number of people plus that polite counterword, which is wei. So if there are two of you, you say liang wei. And the best part? It sounds almost exactly like the English phrase two ways. Then just follow it up with a quick sixe, or thank you. 2 ways, thank you. Boom, you're in. Okay, so once you're seated by the host, you're gonna need the food Bible to figure out your next move. You can ask for the menu by using the phrase kai dan. It literally translates to dish list. Just say, please give me the kai dan, and you are ready to start exploring. And hey, if you can't read the characters, just point at the pictures. Now, once you actually have the menu, you're going to encounter this major cultural contrast that catches a lot of people totally off guard. In the West, saying I want to a waiter feels incredibly rude, right? We're trained to say I would like or could I please have. But over in China, being direct is considered highly efficient and completely polite, as long as your tone of voice is friendly. You can actually sound like a total local foodie by leaning right into this efficiency. Use these direct phrases to lock in your main dishes. You can say 我要一个, meaning I want one, or honestly, even cooler, 来一个, which literally translates to bring one. So, want Kung Pao chicken? 来一个 Kung Pao chicken. And if you realize halfway through that you absolutely need some dumplings, just add 再, meaning again or another. 再来一个 dumplings. It really is that simple. All right, here is the real moment of truth. When you order, the waiter is almost definitely going to ask a crucial question. Can you eat spicy food? And you've got a few distinct options here. You can go from bula, which is 0 spice, to weila, meaning just a micro, tiny spice, all the way up to absolute maximum danger on the far end of the spectrum. And what's absolutely hilarious about this slide is the literal translation of that highest level. Beyond hai la literally translates to abnormally perverted spicy. I mean, it is so hot, it's considered insane. As our source firmly warns, unless you're a total daredevil with an iron stomach, do yourself a massive favor and stick to the microspice. After surviving the spice check, it's time to wash it down. You can easily navigate the drinks section of the menu, which is called yin liao, and confidently grab what you need. Shui is water, pijiu is beer, and cola is wonderfully easy because it's called ke, which sounds pretty much exactly like the English word. Just whip out your new favorite phrase, 来一个啤酒, bring one beer. When your steaming, delicious food finally hits the table, the waiter will usually say this really beautiful phrase, 请慢用. It highlights this wonderful cultural appreciation for taking your time and truly enjoying the meal. There's no rushing you out the door here. You're meant to savor the whole experience slowly. As you dive into the meal and start experiencing all those amazing flavors, it's always a great idea to show your respect to the staff. Now, to do this right, you'll want to use specific compliments depending on what you're actually consuming. For the food, you say 好吃, which literally means good to eat. But if that beer is just hitting the spot, you say 好喝, meaning good to drink. Okay, let's say that microspice was a bit more than you bargained for, and you've downed all your water halfway through the meal. Whatever you do, please don't shout across the restaurant. Simply raise your hand slightly, catch the waiter's eye, and use this incredibly local phrase, Fu Wu Yuan, Ma Fan Jia Dian Shui. This translates directly to, waiter, trouble you to add some water. It's polite, it's totally natural, and honestly, it makes you sound like you've lived in Beijing for a decade. Now, as your meal winds down, you're going to need to know what to do with the leftovers. In a lot of Western countries, asking for a doggy bag can sometimes feel a little bit awkward, or maybe even cheap. But in China, it's the exact opposite. Saving food is actually a massive cultural virtue over there. Wasting it is deeply frowned upon. You simply ask to da bao, which means to wrap a bag. It's totally practical and highly respected. Let's step through the highly efficient, modern checkout sequence that wraps up your entire restaurant experience. It happens in rapid succession. You box your leftovers, you ask for the bill, and then you seamlessly pay using your phone. It's an incredibly frictionless process once you actually know the steps. To kick off that checkout, you need to ask for the check. And you can use this fantastic little phonetic anchor, Maidan. It sounds exactly like you're saying the English name, Maidan. Just call over the waiter and say, Maidan. Though, as our source jokes, just remember you're paying for yourself. There is no guy named Dan coming to cover your meal. Which brings us to a huge reality of modern China. Literally, nobody uses cash anymore. It is almost entirely a mobile payment society now. When you ask to Maidan, the waiter's going to bring over a QR code and basically ask you to choose between the two modern giants of Chinese commerce, WeChat Pay or Alipay. You just scan the code and boom, you're all settled up. Finally, as you gather up your boxed leftovers and head for the door, remember this. Do not stress if your pronunciation wasn't perfect or if you completely messed up the tones. A friendly smile and a simple 谢谢, 再见, thank you, goodbye, really is the ultimate universal language. The staff will genuinely appreciate that you even made the effort to engage with their language and their culture. So I want to leave you with this final thought to consider for your next culinary adventure. How are you going to put these new skills to the test? When you walk into that authentic restaurant, what local dish are you ordering first? And tell me, are you actually brave enough to try the abnormally perverted spice? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you on the